Hello and welcome, my dear friends. Thank you for joining me. My name is Michelle and I am your emotional resilience coach. What we are chatting about at the moment is we're going through bits and bobs and pieces here and there from my book, Who Are You Beneath the Pain? Working through the infuriating unfairness of trauma. So if you have been through trauma, if you are on a healing journey, please do stick around. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and the notifications button. So I am going to cover very briefly today the freeze response. I have done past videos on it, but today I want to speak to you about it from the perspective of what I wrote about in my book. If you are interested in purchasing it, please do head on over to Amazon. Who Are You Beneath the Pain by me, your emotional resilience coach, Michelle Ludick. Okay, so the freeze response is my go-to. It's the thing that I tend to slip into the most when I'm feeling overwhelmed, under pressure, high anxiety. It is where we basically space out. So common sensations and emotions with this form of response are numbness, heaviness, foggy brain, exhaustion, sluggishness, and needing to just check out, either in front of the TV or you are overwhelmed by the need to sleep. Just sleep, sleep, sleep. Sleep feels like your best friend because it's an escape from all the noise that is inside your head, all the rush of thoughts and emotions and trying to figure it all out and trying to figure it all out now and make sense of everything. And it just puts us in a state of, I don't want to, I can't anymore, of surrender, raise the white flag, and let's just go to bed. It's when you sleep and sleep and sleep and you wake up, but you're still exhausted. It doesn't matter how much you sleep, you just have that constant chronic fatigue. I remember I used to go to bed early, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I would wake up at between 6 and 7 in the morning, and I could easily go for a nap again that afternoon, between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. And I would always be told, don't do that, you're not going to sleep well, you're not going to sleep enough. And I would very easily go back to sleep again that afternoon. My brain, my body, my psyche, my soul, it was processing and dealing with so much. An overwhelming amount of stuff was being thrown at me. All right. You feel like you're witnessing things, but you're not necessarily being in the moment, at least not feeling part of it, connected to it. The variations of such can vary greatly from person to person and situation to situation. Okay, so for example, if life feels a little bit surreal, a lot of people describe it as looking through a glass into your life. You're looking through a glass window, a little bit murky, a little bit dirty, and you feel like you are witnessing your life. You're not necessarily in your life. You don't feel connected. You have this great sense of disconnect. This is different to when you are in meditation and you are the observer. It's not the same. There is this chasm of disconnect, right? So it's what our brains like to do to help us survive when it feels like there is no way out. In my book, I speak about times where I was made to just stand in one place. Eventually, I couldn't just distract myself, and so I would check out, right? You would find a way to escape into a world of your own, numb your emotions, not feel your emotions, not be connected to the situation. The problem is that even though we're using it to survive so that we don't feel this intense pain in the moment that we are experiencing, what happens is that it becomes the default for our brain to live in and to visit and to be in, and we numb all experiences, all our emotions. It just becomes such a habit and such a way of being that we just have this greater chasm, this greater sense of disconnect between ourselves and the rest of the world. And we just feel less and less like we're able to really be with people, understand people, feel that people understand us. This is when you get to these scenarios where you just don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you don't feel understood, and you retreat. Mentally and emotionally, you retreat in your mind, in yourself, more and more and more from the real world. So my stepfather, he liked to push buttons and see how far he could go to attack a person. And I write about when under attack, you just took it. Just as my stepfather would see where and how he could push my mother's buttons, he did the same to me. How much could we take? It was as if we were some sort of social experiment to him. What would he have to do to break me? He would just keep going, keep pushing to see if there were any cracks in the armor I was building. Could he push through? How long before I broke and showed a hint of emotion? Sometimes he would have a glint in his eye and be amused. Other days he was relentless in getting a reaction. The abuse would get worse, the shouting would get louder. I would be berated that I had crocodile tears, even if the tears were just welling up in my eyes. I would hold my breath and dare myself to not cry. Do not do it, Michelle, I would say to myself repeatedly. He would attack when I was tired or unwell. Surely I would crack then. He would say it either straight at me or to my mother that I was manipulative, attention-seeking, or the usual character assassinations. And so to avoid all of this, I learned to check out. The noise was too much. The screaming pierced through everything, and no amount of distraction could let me escape. So I learned to not be there emotionally or mentally. I would be threatened that my face would be rearranged for me if it even flickered, because then I was being insolent. Not surprising, I became quite good at being deadpan, poker-faced. This was not always easy to do, but obviously with enough practice, we become better and better at it. This became my new normal, but to not allow any emotion on my face and to be convincingly effective at that, I needed to not feel any emotion. Thus, emotion became the enemy. It made me weak. I hated my emotions. They just got me into trouble. There was no way out for them. Enter suppression. I became the master at suppressing my feelings to the point where for many years, for most of what I was experiencing, I did not know clearly what I was feeling or thinking. The most common answer would be numb, or nothing really, or the teenage response of, I don't know. I wasn't trying to be facetious. I really didn't know. I would try to figure it out, but I was never quite sure. What was the right thing to feel? I was just pushing through and going through the motions of surviving one day to the next. It became a part of me. To survive, I created an inner world, a place so far and so deep that I could hide in plain sight. I became a master hider. So good that I was even hiding from myself. I was losing connection with myself. We lose such a beautiful part of the human experience when we are not able to connect with ourselves and others. But this became my default. All right, so this is the freeze response. So think of a deer in headlights. A car comes towards the deer stops, freezes, stares, doesn't do anything, just stands there. Some animals in nature, they, when overwhelmed, play dead, right? Fall down, roll over, play dead. Again, the freeze response. Basically, you just shut down. If this is a normal pattern for you, a normal habit for you, there isn't anything wrong with you. This is just how your brain, in your psyche, learned to survive the trauma that you are in and that you have experienced. The good news is that it does take a while, because it does take a lot of unlearning, but there is a way out. There is a way to learn to connect with yourself again, connect with those around you, and that is to learn to do the one thing you don't want to do and you've maybe been avoiding, and that is to connect with your feelings. I have done some videos in the past about sitting with your feelings. I will go through some more, but the best way to get out of that fog, to get out of that place of discontent and disconnection, is to learn to be with ourselves first and foremost. All right, I hope that this has made a difference to you, has given you some greater insight into maybe what you have been experiencing, what you've been living through. Please do let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, the notifications button. Come on over to me at the Emotional Resilience Coach on Instagram. Say hey to me there. Do get my book at Amazon, Who Are You Beneath the Pain? And please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, the notifications button, and do share. All right, at the end of my videos, what I like to do is just take a deep breath, just to settle ourselves and ground ourselves. A lot of these topics hit hard emotions. Breathe out and acknowledge and honor how far you've come and that you are doing better than you realize. Have a most empowered day.